Hello, welcome back to your mama house. Today we'll be having a very sweet but deep conversation. We'll be giving a message to our inner child. So, let's start off with you.
Ooh.
What would you say to your inner child if you were to see her right now? Although they all live in us. So, but like if you were like to physically see your younger self, like what would you say or do, or how would you react to her?
Ooh, good question. I did not know you were going to ask that. Okay. I guess the first thing I would do if I saw my inner child is I'd probably hug me. I think we went without like physical affection for so long. I think the first thing I would do is probably pick up my inner child, spin her around, and just say the things that I've always wanted to hear. Like,
Aw.
I'm proud of you. Like, you're good enough. That's what I would start off with is you are worthy. So how would you greet yourself?
I agree. I would hug younger me too, and I think I think we would cry to each other.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a safe space. Like even with you too,
Yes.
I feel like we cry. Just like you know, I don't know if y'all ever done this, but you just sometimes without even like just having to say anything, you just hug each other and like you cry, you let
There's
it
an
out.
understanding.
Yeah. I feel like as a little kid, like we couldn't be emotional or like safe to be. So we
Yeah.
always had to like do it alone. I remember like when we were sad or when I was sad, I would like go to a room and cry alone, or maybe go to the bathroom and cry alone because we would like get made fun of, or we would be
Yeah.
told like "chitakuwa" or like don't cry, or
Yeah.
like
We didn't have a safe space to be vulnerable, and I think that's why everything we do in life is trying to correct
like,
what we went through in our
awkward.
lives.
I remember some of our
Yeah.
siblings would be like, "Ooh, why are you crying?" Or it was just like we didn't really know how to handle our emotions and to process them together. So now as an adult, we're learning to do that, and even some of our siblings still don't know how to. But I don't like blame them
I
necessarily.
still struggle with that sometimes too. Yeah.
Same, yeah. But yeah, I would hug myself. We'd cry together, and I would tell her a lot more. But like, what would be the first few things you would say to your younger self?
I believe you.
Oh,
I think as kids we go through so much, and we are looking for someone to understand us and to validate how we feel. And like as a kid, I felt misunderstood all the time. I still feel misunderstood as an
that's
adult.
true.
But whatever I felt as a kid, I would just tell her, I believe you. I feel like had someone told me that as a kid, that would have changed my entire life, because now I find myself over explaining, trying to convince people that what I'm saying, this is how I feel. So had someone just told me, I believe you, like I trust you, that would have made a world of a difference for me.
I'm sorry that you didn't feel like anyone believed you and your experiences and your story. You know, I feel like a lot of times people downplay like children just because of their age, but no, children, they have such a loving, like full heart. Like children are so innocent. They have no reason to lie. And I'm just so sorry no one believed you. You know, you deserve that. You deserve a safe space, deserve people who support, advocate for you.
When you think of your inner child, like who do you think of? What does she look like? How does she act? How old is she?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Oh, she's really good at asking questions. I think of like 5 or 6 year old me. She would have pigtails. I wore pigtails a lot.
You
A lot of
did.
times
You're
my
so
hair
cute.
was, like, in a ponytail, but a lot of times
Yeah.
it was also in pigtails. I would see myself wearing like a blue shirt and like pink or red pants. That's what I wore a lot. Sometimes I wore a blue shirt and black pants.
Iconic.
We ain't had that much money, so I wore the same things, and I wore a lot of your hand-me-downs.
We rotated our clothing. We didn't have much. Yeah.
Yep. But hey, are y'all sisters if y'all don't wear each other's clothes?
I can
Age.
picture little So still and how she sounds like and how she acts. You're still very much her.
I was very sassy as a little girl.
Yeah,
like,
she was. I was jealous.
Why?
Because like how you felt, you did that. Like if you were sad, you
yeah,
cried.
that's
I don't know, after a while, like
I did it, but I was like humiliated for it.
really,
But I still did it. I was, you know what?
That's bravery.
I'm not loved either way, so I may as well just express myself.
Period. So we should probably do a trigger warning for this one, because I do want to talk a little bit about my inner child. So to be clear, an inner child is not just always like a certain age. Like one day, my age right now will be an inner child to older me. So it's an ongoing thing. But when I think about my childhood, I think about 4-year-old me. So when I was 4, I was sexually assaulted for a period of time. And so it's a little bit easier to talk about now because I've had practice with doing it. But if you struggle with opening up and sharing, that's okay. Take your time. So I think about 4-year-old me. I picture a very quiet little girl. I've never really, because I'm extroverted now and I like to talk now, people think I've always been this way. It took me a long time to work my way up. And I struggled with crying for a long time. Even as a kid, I didn't cry because I was told not to cry. I picture her. She's 4. She's quiet, a little awkward. I can't recall any memories of me laughing at all as a kid. And it is sad. And I think sometimes my awkwardness is like, that's how I cope with it, with it still. But I would say, yeah, I picture her. She's 4. She has a ponytail. She's probably wearing an overall skirt or a pink dress or something like that.
I think of that polka dot dress.
I think about that polka dot dress. We will include that right here.
Dress.
Somewhere right here.
Yeah, first off, I'm so sorry that you experienced that and that happened to you. Like, no one deserves that. And like, I believe you. I'm sorry. I was only 1 year old and we couldn't confide in each other. But I'm sorry that you experienced that. Like, you didn't deserve that one.
Thank you, boo. Thank you. Well, I will say thank you for being like such a strong place for me to lean on, because although I didn't know that I could go to anyone when I was a kid, I'm glad I can come to you as an adult. Because as a kid, I didn't know that that wasn't normal. When you're young, you think the things that you go through, that's normal. Why would people in my life put me in danger? You don't understand that. So it's
not normal.
That's where I'm at with that.
It shouldn't have happened. And you should have been protected. You should have felt safe. And I love that you are providing yourself, like your inner child, what you need. You know you need. Like, you put yourself first now. Like, you love yourself. You believe yourself. You don't like question yourself.
I believe me.
You're confident in yourself, and you don't need anyone else to. Like, even if no one else does, you make it a safe place for yourself. And I think she would be so proud of you. Like, she is so proud. And I feel like that's who we like yearn to be. We just yearn to make our inner self like proud. Give ourselves what we didn't have. Like, I can resonate with you when you said that it was like normal. Like, for me, with all the physical abuse that was happening in our house, I thought that maybe every household was like physically abusive like that. It shouldn't have happened. You know, we shouldn't have gone through that.
It's not normal, and it's not fair. So it stirs up this anger inside of us as kids. And when you're a kid, you don't know how to explain what you're feeling. Even as an adult, and we understand things more now, it's still a little tough to talk about.
That's so true. Like, even sometimes it's as simple as, like, sometimes randomly for me, I'm like, God, I'm so sad right now. Like, literally, that was me last night. And then, but I was like, that's so simple, but it's like, we're just saying how we feel, and I think that that's okay. And we never had like a parent that we could go to and say, like, Mom or Dad, like, I'm so sad right now. But I'm so glad that, like, we can do that with God. We don't need to, like, wait on a parental figure. We can just do it now safely with God.
What would you say to yourself? I know, like, you're talking about the type of punishment or repercussions that we received. Like, what would you say to that little soul who was experiencing that?
You know how, like, you would tell yourself that I believe you? I would tell myself that, like, you didn't deserve that. I think we endured like different abuse. But like, I would tell myself, like, you didn't deserve that, and I love you.
I agree.
And I'm gonna give you the love that you need and desire. And so I'm gonna also tell her to have grace on herself. And I think that's why, you know how like everything we tell people is kind of like projection, and that's true for me. Like, there's a reason why I tell everyone, like, have grace on yourself, give yourself the rest that you need, or take care of your mental health.
That's so true.
It's because like as a kid we didn't really get that. So in some way I'm like overcompensated, but hey, I deserve it. And people around me deserve it too. Like, and the reason why I always say have grace on yourself so is because it's like when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to be a kid. I wasn't allowed to be human, to make mistakes, which we all do as human beings. So that's why I would say, like, give yourself grace, because we as human beings, we are imperfect, we make mistakes, and that isn't to justify our wrongdoings, but to say, like, hey, we're learning, we're growing together, and I love you for who you are, and you don't have to change a thing, and now you're safe with me. So like, that's what I would tell myself. Like, I'm gonna create a safe space and safe body and place for you to be thriving emotionally, physically, spiritually,
I didn't realize that's where that came from. Your need to allow grace for everyone came from what you experienced as a kid.
Yes, that's girl. Remember, everything is a projection.
It is a projection. I didn't realize mine came from the sexual abuse that I was going through as a kid. Where like, if you know me, if you've ever sat with me, I believe you. If your experience is different from mine, I still believe you.
Yeah, that's true. You don't ever doubt anyone.
Yeah. I'm not going to shorten someone of their experience just because my experience wasn't like that.
I love how you always also tell people like that they shouldn't allow anyone to tell you how to or not to feel. Do you think that has something to do with your childhood?
100%. Like we mentioned, everything in life, how we view everything, that's just a projection, whether it's good or bad. Like we think sometimes if it's not a negative thing, that it's not a projection. It's still a projection. It's just a positive projection. I think I'm so quick to believe people because I believe me. I believe me now. And so just because, like, you guys are viewers and you only see this part. You don't know what looks like behind the camera, but I see that part. That's perception. That's perspective. And so, yes, that's very much why I am the way that I am.
Can you tell me more about what you would tell your inner child?
Oh, gosh. I would tell her, in addition to I believe you, you know how you feel. You know it. For a long time, I battled with, did this happen to me? Like, was that real? Because you kind of live in like this foggy daze. You mix up reality with what's going on because as a kid, you don't really understand. So I would tell her, like, you know how you feel. That didn't come out of nowhere. We're part of nature. We react accordingly. And so aside from that, I would tell her, yeah, you know how to feel. And according to how you feel, sometimes that's how we react. And which I hope you don't mind. I'm going to bring it to the point when I became older and I came to that realization of, oh, this fucking happened. It ignited a fire inside of me because I've known that all my life. So when I say you know how you feel, I mean whether you decide to accept it or not, you know how you feel. And so when reality aligned with my thoughts and what was going on, I was not okay with it. I was angry. And
rightfully so.
Yes. And C.S. Lewis, I think he said, like, I sat with my grief long enough to learn, you know, that it was sadness. And that's what it was for me for a long time is I had this deep hurt that became so calloused. It turned into anger and it affected every part of my life.
And that makes me also upset for you because I remember like growing up, you know, I was like the sad one. One was like the angry one. Like especially our brothers, they would always be like, "You're always so angry," and yeah, you were angry, but they made it seem like it was a bad thing, like an insult. When they just didn't know your story, that you had a right to be angry.
I'm seen as angry because I have a hard time crying. And so they associate like feelings, like passion. Like if you watch our other videos, you know how I talk. That's just how I talk. It's just how I talk. I'm not mad.
Passionate.
I'm just passionate. I get loud sometimes, but I don't always say things with tears.
Passion, I think it's the Latin root of it. That literally means pain. I led a Bible study one time, and I had
Nancy Hood.
No, I was digging into the word compassion, and passion means pain, and is like to be in it with someone. So to be in pain with someone, and I have compassion for you because you shouldn't have like gone through what you went through. You sharing your story is so inspiring because I'm sure you'll touch whoever it's meant to touch.
Yeah,
and oh my gosh, I'm sure your inner child is so proud of you.
I think she is too. I think yours is proud of you as well. Like, I mean, even as a child, I was proud of you for expressing your emotions. And I know people tell you all the time, or like, you're sensitive, you're emotional. But to me, when I see that, I think it is your strength. I think it is why people love being around you, is that you understand them, you hear them, you see them for who they are and where they're at. So
I've learned to accept it and embrace it. And view it as a strength. I think for a long time I viewed it as a weakness, and then I was like, wait, it allows me to connect with anyone if I choose to be like empathetic and compassionate towards them. So I love it, and you know, we each have our own strengths and gifts. So and hers, like, you're really good at communicating. I wish I could communicate as well.
And that is also a trauma response. Is because
Can you talk more about that? Because I don't really know much about
as a kid, I didn't know how to express how I felt because I didn't feel like people were going to believe me anyway. So I'm not going to say anything about it.
Some people still don't.
Some people still don't believe me. Yeah, I literally don't give a fuck now.
Need to be understood.
It's nice to be understood, but chasing for it is going to hurt you. So I realized like maybe 2 years ago that I value the skill of being really good at communication is because I really want someone to understand me, and I really want to understand people. Just because I didn't have that growing up, because I didn't know how to express to someone, hey, I'm being sexually assaulted, I'm being molested, this is happening to me. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't have the words for it. And now as an adult, I look at it and I'm like, I have the words for it, and some people still don't believe me. So to be believed is someone caring about you. That is effort that we don't really value enough, we don't place enough emphasis on. But you believing me allowed me to open up to you in so many ways that I couldn't have to someone who accuses me of lying. So, and likewise with you, at what age did you start reconciling with your inner child, and what did you learn?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I didn't really truly process everything that I've gone through. Well, I'm still doing it. So I didn't really start processing until, like, I think college. I think it was like the first year of college where, you know, you're away from home and you have all this time to just, like, think, like, wow, damn, I went through that. And that wasn't, like, okay. I think I've always known it wasn't okay, but to, like, I don't know, having my brain be more developed and just having a better understanding of things and what is, like, right from wrong, I was just like, wow. Like, I can't believe we all went through that. Like, even you and I didn't really start talking about real shit until we became adults.
And I think you mentioned it well. It's like they isolated us. We didn't have that unity at all. So we crafted that. I think people look at us and they think we've always been so close and that, wow, you guys are so lucky. We worked really hard for this.
Did. In 2016, you had opened up to me for the first time about what you went through. The sexual assault you experienced as a little girl. And I never knew that. And I felt like, you know, I was so sad for you. And at the same time, I was happy that you finally were vulnerable with me because I felt like I couldn't be vulnerable if, like, you also weren't vulnerable. But because you were vulnerable, I was like, I can also let my guards down as well. So I know I always, like, was emotional, but, like, to see you also, like, being open about what you experienced, I was like, oh my gosh, like, we are here for each other. And I feel like that's when we started really getting closer.
I didn't realize that, like, you were, like, almost like withholding vulnerability because
I was.
And it's like, that with you. It's not like you never. It's not like you knew I was holding something and not sharing. I think we just community. We really, like, opening up to each other allows the other person to open up. But I remember that was a tough time, and like having your
tough time for you.
Having your support meant everything because I don't know if you remember, I was ready to lose everything over that. Like when it hit me, like, wait. This happened and I'm pissed. That changed my life.
Was it at that age that you were like,
I was 21. Wow. It was 17 years after the fact that it happened. And I'm almost 30 now, and I think about that. I could never. Just going through that and coming to that realization, like, wait, hold the fuck up. That was wrong. That took so much energy and, like, for me to even realize that was fucked up. If I could go back in time to my inner child who was 21, I would also say, I'm proud of you.
Aww. High five. I just gave your inner child a high five.
Oh, thank you. I would give yours a big hug. Like, I don't know how we did it. If you could go back.
Oh,
tell me.
I really think of, like, I truly, truly believe, especially, like, in our family, our siblings, we, like, the favor of God is upon us. Because I don't know how we survived, how we are the way that we are. I praise God. And people don't know what we went through, but we know, and God knows, and that's all that matters. So you don't need to believe us, and if you do, great, thank you. But, like, we went through so much, and I just love, I think that's why I love our family so much. Like, I love family time. I know sometimes it can be overwhelming.
We hang out for, like, 18 hours straight. We don't know how to hang out like regular families.
But I feel like in some ways, like, when we hang out, I see all of our inner children. It's like we finally get to hang out in peace. Like, what we wanted as little kids, but we couldn't have that as little kids because of mom or dad or whatever at the time. Like, we just couldn't. But now it's like, hey, we're growing up and we're choosing to hang out. And I love that, because I know some families just don't hang out.
That is really sad.
So I don't take this for granted. Like, every time we have a family hangout, I like just take a moment to like soak it all in, like literally. Yeah.
I love that we're talking about our inner child, because that's just part of who we are. That'll never go away. So with you having a relationship with your inner child and your higher self, how does that allow you to have grace and empathy for other people?
I'm told sometimes that I'm too empathetic, but the reason why I am is because I see my inner child, and so I also see other people's inner child. And that allows me to extend grace, because when someone hurts me or other people, I just see like there's a little kid in them that's also hurting, and they don't know how to like go about it. And so I hope that like with me showing grace, it's not just in vain, but that they see like, wow, this person, like they're loving and they're free in their inner child, and I want to be like that too. So that's like my legacy I hope to leave on this earth.
I think you do a good job at leaving that.
You can feel safe with me. You can make mistakes with me, and we can have grace for one another. Because I feel like that's kind of what we were meant to be in life. Like, just have grace, because we're humans. We're gonna make mistakes, and I still love you, and your mistakes doesn't change my love for you. And even if it's like a stranger, it doesn't even have to be someone close to me. It's like, man, I still love you. You know what I mean?
It sounds like grace is something you really wanted as a kid.
It is.
You preach about grace a lot.
Yes.
And I think that's a beautiful thing.
And I want to talk about the difference between mercy and grace too.
Okay, period. Go off.
Mercy is like deserving punishment, but that person or whoever withholds that punishment even though you deserved it. Grace is just favor, like you just getting something even without earning it, or doing anything to deserve it. You're just being blessed with that. When we were kids, like, we wouldn't have done anything wrong. It wasn't like we needed mercy. We didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's just, I just wanted grace. Like, hey, I didn't intentionally hurt or do whatever, to deserve punishment, but like, can you just like give me the benefit of the doubt and like see my heart and my intention?
I think grace is a beautiful thing, and I love that where you weren't given something as a child, you are sure to give that to other people. You could have went the other way. You could have done exactly as you were given, and you didn't.
And what I'm so proud about you and us is that like we don't allow our pain to make us like to inflict more pain. Like, if anything, we want to learn from it, and we want to also like heal together and encourage people, like other people who are hurting too. I think a lot of people are hurting on the inside, and so I think it's so important to be intentional in how we treat people, because you never know what they're battling with on the inside.
Something that we heard a lot as kids, we're Hmong, so we heard a lot as kids as like, oh, our kid's not cute, our kid's not smart, they're lazy. We heard a lot of bad. How did that affect you as a kid?
Oh my gosh, I think I told you this, but like, yeah, that's true. As a kid and as a teenager, I was always told like, you're ugly, you're fat, you're so stupid, you don't deserve anything good. So that affected me a lot. Like, I just was not confident. I thought I was just dumb as hell, and I couldn't accomplish anything I put my heart and mind to. So I guess, like, going back to your other question, I would tell myself like, hey, you got this. You, like, if you truly put your mind, your heart, and your soul into something, you can do it. If you ever feel insecure about something, like, you have the control to change that. It's up to you. Don't let other people's opinions and perspectives of you like cause you to be complacent, but if anything, use that as fuel to do and be better. And I just want to like thank you, because I remember the first time I believed in myself truly was in high school. I remember like telling you, I was like, I think it was part of my internal oppression coming out, because I was just like, I want to run for like NHS president, but like I just don't know if I could do it. Maybe like, this nerdy white boy at our school, maybe he could do it, but like I don't know if I could. I just didn't believe that I could. And you were like, what? No, you can totally do it, and you're gonna win if you do it. And I was just like, I could. Like, we were never encouraged that we could do something. So I just never aimed for higher. I just thought, okay, well, I'm just gonna be here and like root for other people. And so I realized, wait, I can do things like
Yeah.
myself. And so when I actually got it, I was like, Wen believed in me.
Yeah.
I think she was the first person to believe in me. And I was like, whoa.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
No, it's fine. But
I'm honored,
that was
but
the beginning of something great. Because
wow.
I realized,
period.
wait, I think I could go to college too. And
Duh.
then I completed college. And I'm like, whoa, I can do it.
I never doubted you for a moment. Like
Thank you.
from the outside, I'm like, duh, she got this.
Yeah, you believed myself before I believed me.
Aww.
So yeah, I like thank you, because I feel like that was like the beginning of everything else I had accomplished in life. And I gotta say, it wasn't just me. Like God was always there with me.
Yeah.
You guys, like I had y'all support. Like there were many days where I would call her crying, and I love that we can be that for one another, because we weren't meant to be on this earth alone.
And you do that for me too. And I think it's so sad that like our parents did such a great job at like tearing down our self-esteem.
That is sad.
That's so sad. Like sometimes your biggest haters are your parents, but you know, I believed in you, and I'm happy to believe in you. I'm happy to help people get to where they want to be, because if their words that were so painful are that powerful and had such a stronghold on me and us for such a long time, then positive words are going to set you free too. And so in the same way, girl, that's why I love words, because they are powerful.
She's a huge word person.
I love
and
words.
Love it. Anytime I need help wording something or expressing myself through words, like she's there to help.
It's fun.
It's so powerful.
It is. And for a long time, I didn't realize why I loved it. And then I realized like the power behind, it's not just a word, it's the energy that a word carries. Like to me, I was like, girl, that's NHS, easy. Prom queen, easy. Like when
she believed in me.
I will always
I'm still surprised.
But it's easy to believe in you though, like, because I want to.
Yeah. It's also interesting because like we weren't really close back then either. Like,
I know greatness when I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But any last words you want to put out there or say to yourself, or any other things you want to add?
Yeah, I'll say this. Just because you went through abuse a long time ago doesn't mean it doesn't affect you anymore. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It doesn't leave us. I don't care what people say. The other day someone told me, well, I'm healed from my traumas, so that's great for you, but trauma is not just, it's not that simple. Like if you break your leg when you're younger, yeah, it might be healed, but that scar is there. Like how you run is always gonna be a little different. Like I sprained my ankle a while ago, I still got a little squeak in it. So it's like even after things heal, it still continues to affect you. So I'll say this, like that abuse might have happened to me when I was 4. I carry that every day with my life. Like I'm healing every day from it. We're gonna continue to talk about other things, but I'll also say, just because someone doesn't look like they're struggling with that trauma anymore doesn't mean that they're not. I know I've gotten to a point where I talk about certain things that I might not cry about it anymore, but it doesn't mean that it won't sneak up on me at a later time. So it's different for everyone. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
Tell us about your inner child. We look forward to hearing all about it.
Take care, and hugs from our inner children to yours.
Hugs.